Here we start with a tour of the bikes. So this is a Minerva. It's a Belgian frame. I think it's chromoly. Bought as a winter bike and just built up on what I had. So Campag record long mech and a nice carbon Octalink triple. Nothing else worthy, not really. Fancy brakes, CNC brakes. And a nice new chrome fork on it and Centaur running gear. This is a restoration for a frame off eBay. It was damaged mainly around the seat tube and the ball bracket and the head tube. So, but none of the delicate stuff was damaged, so easy to restore and just lacquer. Running on my old faithful helium wheels. They've been up Galibier and Alpe d'Huez and all sorts. Carbon brakes, of course running gear, and a centre rear mech, so a bit of everything in it, and a triple. Took this to France last year. Here we have a Colnago tribute, to be kind. It's actually sometimes referred to as a Chinago. It's one of the best bikes I've got though. Carbon monocoque as opposed to bonded tubes. Very light, very stiff, very comfortable. And of course a facsimile of a Colnago C60. Wheel set worthy of mention, Cosmic Carbon, carbon spokes, very fast wheel set. All in all, probably my best riding bike and almost certainly the fastest. Next one, this is a love project, the very high spec, very rare Arabesque Colnago, purchased off Maestro for my 50th birthday. Maestro's a bike shop in the UK. Beautiful lugwork, very high spec build, made sure of that. Super record, Campag, 11 speed, everything including chain set. Chain rings are carbon. And the wheel set is very rare, mad fibre. They're only made for about a year and a half, I think. Had problems with delamination, which this wheel did, but I managed to get some specific aerospace carbon glue and glue them all back up, and that was about a year ago and they still run true. Don't use it very regularly, but anyway, she's nice. Campag record. Oh, good. This is the real deal, built in the UK, the very first decent bike I built. It's a titanium Colnago oval Titan. Specific because it's made from 6AL 4V titanium rolled tubes and was probably actually built in the United States by a company called Lightspeed, according to the stories. All on period record build with the very first compact carbon chain set that came out around the time Tyler Hamilton specified it for the Tour when he broke his shoulder. Wheel sets, not period though, that's a full carbon clincher set that runs well. This is an incredible downhill bike, strangely enough. Once again it's been to France and done its thing. Yep, very light and quite a fast bike as well. And I think probably the best looking bike I've got, but that's my opinion. The next one's the most recent build. This was just to use up some stuff that was lying around. I had a frame off eBay, new old stock from Holland. I had a lot of damage on it, so I touched it up and got it lacquered. I restored the grip set on it. All stripped and re-lacquered the cranks, etc. They were second hand. And I had an old set of Campag Zonda wheels. and these brakes were bought for the next bike, but I thought they were too flashy, so I'd put them away. So these were fitted here. Not to everybody's taste, but very stiff, actually quite light as well. It's an alloy fork that polished up nice after 5 years sitting in the garage. Yep. Next one, this is another build. I won this on eBay on New Year's Eve. Got it for absolute steal, new old stock frame from Switzerland, a bike shop in Switzerland. It's a Spiral Conic, quite a rare bike. It's steel obviously, but I don't know if it'll come up, but it's got flutes on the down tube that it's trademark. Once again, high spec for a decent frame, super record, compact, and record delta brakes, which are very heavy but actually quite powerful brakes. I love the paint on this one particularly because of the theme of the wave running from the gold cabling through the top tube, then back out through the top tube. It all kind of lines up in the gold, and I think that's a particularly nice feature. Speaking of which, that's a Cinelli Gramo titanium mountain bike stem. I had a bit of back problems when I built this bike, so I haven't adjusted it back yet, but that frame's just too nice. Sorry, the stem is just too nice to let go. Very rare, quite expensive if you can find one. And a wheel set, Campagnolo Shamal with the carbon hubs, the gold spokes, gold alloy spokes, top spec in the day, and of course goes well with the gold theme of the bike. Next bike is another Colnago, although this is a different story. This was a restoration, went wrong. The paint was, I got this bike from Italy as a full bike. The paint was damaged. I restored the paint, made a grand job of it. In my assessment, lacquered it, and the lacquer all cracked. So rather than throw the frame away, I stripped the whole frame, as I discovered they're actually chrome underneath the paint, so it was suitable to be stripped. Shimano HP12 titanium wheels, very rare and strong, stiff, and surprising how heavy this bike is compared to the others. It must have been a nightmare on the hills, especially with that gearing. All built on record C, including what look like fairly standard anonymous brakes, but those are incredibly rare. This bike would have probably been spec'd with record delta, and these record C were only out for a year or so. Restored once again, stripped all the anodizing off the alloy and polished it. Owned by somebody called Gino Loratelli, probably. Giovanni. Not a particularly comfortable bike, as I said, quite heavy, and you really need to know what you're looking at to appreciate it, but anyway, it's nice enough. And lastly, this is a bit of a Frankenstein build, hybrid titanium carbon frame I just had to have from China. Beautifully made, to be honest, and fitted out with road running gear, Campagnolo record, mechanical disc brakes, an extension of the bikes I used to ride in Wales when the weather conditions were so bad, but really a bit of an irrelevance here. But strangely enough, one of the ones that gets the most comments when I'm out, worthy of mention, is the Crank Brothers wheel set, which is very quite rare and fairly expensive and lovely to look at, to be honest. It's a bit dirty, this bike, I'll have to clean it. And then other note is this thing here, the Mythic Carbon French Aramid carbon composite cast kind of thing crank set. If you took this out and handled it, you wouldn't believe it was made of anything other than helium. It is unbelievably light. Anywho, nice touch is the XTR, classic XTR mountain bike front derailleur. Yep, Trigon. All kind of standard eBay fare, but quite a ride actually, quite comfortable, but amazing how slow it is compared to something like the Colnago. But if you're out on your own, it's a comfortable ride. There we go. Now I've got another 7 bikes in the shed, but they're not worth a video. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Cheers.